Hey there, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sarah and this is Brown Family Goods. Well, the big game is almost here. Let's get ready for game day with a delicious dip recipe, 2 finger food recipes that everyone will love, and a viral dessert recipe. We're going to try that together. I promise that all of these recipes will have everybody cheering for more. So let's jump right into cooking. We're starting with the viral honey bun cake recipe. This is one that I pulled offline, of course. I've seen this everywhere. My husband has sent it to me multiple times because he obviously thinks it sounds really good as well. So we're going to try it out today. It starts with a box cake mix, some cream cheese, some eggs, and then I'm going to show you the rest. I got my mixer out because I think it's just going to be much easier to throw it all in here and whip it together. So we're going to just first get the cream cheese. This is softened cream cheese. And for all of our activities today, we're going to need 3 blocks of softened cream cheese. So last night I went ahead and put it all in my cabinet over there. Yes, I leave it out overnight. It's completely fine. It's all sealed up, of course. And it makes sure that it is really nice and soft. Actually, the kitchen's not even that warm today, but it's much, much softer than if you had left it in the refrigerator overnight. So we'll start with softened cream cheese for this, and we're going to just whip this for a few minutes to get it nice and smooth before we put in the eggs. If you watched my last video where I used my mixer, you heard me say that I needed to do some things to it to get it back where the mixing blade would actually go to basically to the bottom of the bowl. Yeah, I never did that, so we haven't done that yet. Of course. So it's still doing the same thing now. So make sure you scrape it down pretty good if you're using a mixer here. I am going to crack 4 eggs. I'm going to crack them into this bowl first and then put them in the big bowl because these are fresh chicken eggs. And sometimes you just don't know what you're going to get. You might get one that's a little off or you don't really love it. So I will crack them in here and then put them in there if they make the cut. So those were cold eggs and they probably just kind of ruined my whole softened cream cheese thing I had going here, but we'll just keep letting it work in the mixer until it all comes together. Okay, that's come together. So I'm going to add in 2/3 of a cup of oil. I'm using avocado oil today, and I wanted to share with you my little secret here. I typically buy my avocado oil from like TJ Maxx, Marshall's, one of those places. This bottle was $12.99. If I bought this in my grocery store, it would probably be at least $20. So I just make sure that it is 100% pure. They have tons of them. They have tons of them at TJ Maxx and Marshall's, around me at least. So you might look for this there whenever you're there. I don't buy any of the other food stuff, but the oils are typically very, very inexpensive and they have a good selection of them. So this is 100% pure avocado oil from Spain, and I just pick it up whenever I see it. So I got these over Christmas time. I think I bought 3 or 4 at once because I had been shopping it on Amazon and in my local grocery stores and stuff. And like I said, it's very expensive if you are buying it in those places. I'm going to put in about a teaspoon of vanilla extract and just pour that right in. And then the next thing that goes in is the cake mix. This is just a regular butter cake mix. The recipe notes that I'm using say that you can use white cake mix if you want. It just will be a little bit of a different color. Mix it about halfway. I'm going to scrape down because I'm using this mixer. I don't want any powdery stuff there at the bottom. Just don't want to overwork this, so we'll give it a couple more seconds to mix after scraping down, and then we'll be good to go. I don't know if I mentioned or not that I preheated my oven to 350 degrees. I also have back here a greased 9x13 pan. That's what this recipe calls for, so we'll use that. All right, she's ready to go. Okay, I'm going to bring my pan up here, and we are going to put about half of this batter into the bottom of the pan here. And then we're going to quickly whip up a filling that goes between the 2 layers. This is kind of a cross between a honey bun, as it says, and coffee cake. eyeball about half here. And that should be it. Grab myself an offset spatula so I can smooth this into the pan here. I might wet it, just to save a little bit of sticking. Maybe better to kind of dollop it, and then you can just push the little dollops around the pan, because with a greased pan, you know, it's all kind of moving around. All right, just do the best you can here. Now we're gonna mix up the brown sugar mixture that goes in between the two layers, and that is gonna be so easy. It is just 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar and 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. We'll just mix this together with a fork, and then this is what gets sprinkled between the layers. Straight in between the two layers here. Pretty generous layer of brown sugar. I'm sure this is gonna be delicious, y'all. How can you go wrong with a layer of brown sugar in between just like this? Oh my gosh, yum. Okay, there's that. I'm gonna kind of pat it down, and this will help push the batter out a little bit as well. Now we just spread the remaining batter over the top here. So what I'm gonna try to do is, maybe I can do something like this where I can spread it a little at the same time as dolloping it on. See how that goes. It just took me a little bit of time and attention to carefully push this all to the edges, and I think it looks fine at this point. Now this is going to go into a 350-degree oven for about 30 or 35 minutes until a toothpick inserted into the center comes out clean. After it's baked, it's going to cool for a little bit, and then I'll show you the next steps that take this over the top. I didn't mention to you that at 20 minutes you want to put a piece of foil over top of your honey bun cake so that the top doesn't get too dark before it's completely baked through. So I'm going to do that now. We've got about 10 minutes of baking left. Just going to quickly whip together the icing for the honey bun cake, and all it is 2 cups of powdered sugar, a little bit of milk, and a little bit of vanilla. We will let the cake cool for just a few minutes, and then we're going to poke some holes and pour over some of the frosting so that it can drizzle down into the cake. I just put a little splash of vanilla there. I'm going to put some of this milk. I have about 3 tablespoons in here, so I'm going to start with about 2 tablespoons and see how the consistency is. That needs more liquid. I'm just going to add a little water. That was about a teaspoon of water. Okay, this is looking better. I have added about 4 tablespoons total of liquid, so that's between the milk and the vanilla extract, and this looks like a better consistency to me for pouring over half, and then later on, once the cake is cooled, we'll pour over the other half. One thing I will say is be sure that you cover this with some plastic wrap while you're waiting to use it. So I'm going to put a piece of plastic over and set it to the side until the cake is done. Now we're on to our second recipe for today, and this one is called Cowboy Butter Chicken Tenders. This is going to be so good. A chicken tender is really perfect for a game day food because it people can just pick it up, dunk it in whatever sauce you want to serve it with, and easily walk around with it or make a plate with it, whatever they want. A couple of eggs in here and a little splash of milk is what I've got in the first stop. This one is just some flour, plain flour. I'm gonna add a good bit of seasoning to it because this will really give us a base of flavor. So I'm adding some Tony's, but you add whatever is your favorite seasoning. I'm also adding in a bit of salt to this one. I'm gonna add a bit of salt to my eggs as well. So we've got the Tony's and the flour. We've got a little salt in there. We'll just fluff it around. Make sure that we got the seasoning distributed. The last stop here will be some cornflakes breading. I just dumped about 1 box of cornflakes into my blender and blended it down so I have some really, really fine bits and I have some bigger bits that I hand crushed as well. Kind of want a mix of both because then you'll get the good adhesion of the fine bits, but you'll have some bigger, crunchier pieces as well. So I also took the liberty of removing the actual tendon from the chicken tenders. I just used a fork to do that. Make sure you hold onto the tendon with a piece of paper towel because otherwise it is almost impossible to hold onto it with your bare hand, I promise you. All I'm gonna do now is bread these up. I need to get a pan ready as well because I want to put these straight into my 400-degree oven and get them baked up. And then I'll show you where the cowboy butter comes in because that is the most delicious part. So I'm going to bake these right on an actual wire rack. I'm going to spray this as well so that we don't have any sticking to it. But put your wire rack onto your sheet pan. I'm just going to spray this over my sink. Now we'll have a pan ready for when we bread these up, we can go straight onto the pan with them. Let's try to be efficient, right? Now I'm just going to start with my breading. I'll put several of these into the egg, then we'll go into the flour, and then finally into the cornflake crumbs. But I wanted to mention to you that this is something that you could absolutely do the day before, a week before, whatever, however far in advance you want to before your party, because these, once you bread them up, put them in the freezer if you're not ready to go ahead and bake them. And then you can take them out on the game day or whatever event you're serving them for and bake them up at that point. That is a real time saver for you because nobody likes a frazzled host, right? You know the one. She's running around like a chicken with her head cut off because she has way too much to do right before the party starts. I have been there, you have been there, we've all been there, right? So after we put these into, is this even the right way? I just did the first ones wrong because I put them into the egg first. I should have put them in the flour first, and I questioned myself instantly when I put them into the egg. I was like, wait, am I supposed to be doing this? No, you should go flour, egg, cornflakes. Because obviously cornflakes are not going to stick to dry flour, right? We knew this, we knew this. Okay, I'm going straight on the pan with these. Now, I'm going to just do the rest. Flour, egg, cornflakes. Flour, egg, cornflakes. I've got to get it in my brain. Now, if you're really advanced, you will keep one hand for wet and you will keep one hand for dry. I am not advanced like that and I would never make it. So what I'm going to do at the same time is essentially bread my fingertips. It's fine. It's all going to be fine. The chicken will still taste delicious whether you have a wet hand and dry hand or not. Okay, straight onto the pan. Now we're getting it. This is something that is really easy to make up in advance, and then you save, number one, the time on the day of your event, but you also save the mess. Because most of the time, it's not really the time it takes to do something, it's the mess. You create a mess making the breadcrumbs in the blender. You make a mess throwing flour all over your countertops, all of that. So save yourself the headache, do it in advance, and throw the stuff into the freezer or even the refrigerator if you're just doing it the night before. and then you will save a lot of mess on the day of, because there's plenty of other stuff to do on the day of your event, right? We're gonna make a dip in a little while. That definitely can be done in advance. We're gonna serve the dip with veggies. That absolutely can be done in advance as well. Cutting the vegetables, getting them all prepped and ready to be eaten on the next day, that is something that you can do well in advance. A couple of days, save yourself some time. And then if you do some things in advance, you can serve more items at your actual party because you haven't had to do as much in one day. We need to take a brief intermission. I just washed up my breaded chicken fingers. We need to go ahead and poke the honey bun cake with a fork while it's still nice and warm. It's been 10 minutes since I took it out of the oven. So we're gonna give it some pokes all over. Show you what I'm doing here. Just poking with a fork here over the top. Do is pour over half of the frosting so that it can seep down into the cake really, really well. Just pull the plastic off of this, and we're gonna pour over half. While this cools down, we'll seep down into there and really make this delicious. You don't want to miss that step on your honey bun cake because that's how that drizzle really gets down into the cake. So while it is still nice and warm, you want to make sure you get that poked and drizzle the top. All right, now I'm going to do the rest of the chicken tenders here. I'm just going to knock these out really, really quickly so that we can get them into the oven. I'm going to give these a spritz with some olive oil spray before I put the pan in. I'm going to cook them about 10 minutes, flip them over, spritz the other side with some spray, and then put them back in for about 2. And that should be the perfect amount of time for cooking them. I'll let you know exactly how long they go though. So these are going straight into the oven, and we will dress them up after they're done cooking. This is why paper plates are perfect for breading things, because all of this is just going straight into the trash can. Okay, it's been 10 minutes for the chicken tenders. I'm just going to give them a flip. I probably should just bring the pan out, that way my oven doesn't get completely cold. I'm just going to give them a turn here on the pan. They are looking very crispy, which is great. Yes. Oh, they even smell good already. These are going to go back in for about 10 more minutes to finish cooking. Oh yes, they look great. They look perfectly baked, nice and crisp. I'm just going to leave them sit over here to the side for just a minute while we mix up the cowboy butter. This is the most important part of the recipe for the cowboy chicken tenders. I have a little bit of butter. This is 1 stick of butter here melting in my pan. I'm also going to add in about half of this garlic. This is a bunch of garlic that I chopped up. I need about 4 cloves for this chicken. So we'll let that garlic kind of heat up in the pan here. I might turn it back on to 1 just so that the garlic can cook a tiny, tiny bit. You don't want it to cook a whole lot, but you want it to be a little bit softened where it's not raw garlic pow hit you in the face. But this is definitely going to be a garlic forward sauce here. Now in goes about half a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of ground thyme, a teaspoon and a half of red pepper flakes. I don't think I can accomplish that, so I'm just going to shake them in until I feel like I've got the right amount. And then some black pepper. Now the Dijon mustard. This is 1 tablespoon of Dijon. The Dijon actually helps the sauce to emulsify back together a little bit, and that's perfect. That's exactly what we want. Now it's time to add that lemon juice. 1 teaspoon of lemon juice and the zest of 1 lemon. Okay? Finally, the parsley. whisk can go now. Let's taste this and see if this is exactly what we want or not. We may need a bit more seasoning. Let's see. Maybe a little bit more salt, but that's it. That actually is so good. Yeah, a bit more salt because this is going on to all of that chicken. So we want it to have plenty of pop of flavor. If you like it spicier, add more red pepper flakes. I think this is perfect though. Gosh, that garlic is so good. Okay, I've got myself a nice big bowl. I'm gonna put in the chicken tenders and I'm gonna pour the sauce over while the chicken tenders are still nice and hot. Oh, yum. I can't wait. I'm gonna eat these for lunch. And dinner probably. Okay, now we can pour the sauce over the chicken and get it nice and coated. Oh my gosh, yum, yum, yum. Just gonna use my little spatula to toss and turn the chicken around in the sauce. Check these out. I think we have to try these right away. Which I think if you're doing the full 2 pounds of chicken with sauce, you're probably gonna need 2 sticks of butter and double these ingredients for the sauce, because I think this is just enough for about half of the tenders. Put them into a baking dish. Once you get them cooked and sauced and all of that stuff, keep them nice and warm in about a 200-degree oven and then pull them out right before you're ready to serve them. And put that pan out and they'll be hot and ready to go. So let's try one. I'm gonna take this one right off the top because it looks like the best one that there is, of course, and let's give it a go. I don't think you even need a sauce to go alongside of these, but you could always put it with some ranch or some blue cheese dressing in case people do want to dip. This cowboy butter sauce is incredible though. It is so flavorful, tangy, garlicky. It's perfect. Perfect the way it is. I'm gonna wolf this one down. I'm gonna keep these for my people to eat in just a little bit. And then we're gonna move on to the next dish, which is those chicken Alfredo crazy puffs. And those are going to be equally delicious. All right, before we begin on the little crazy puffs, we need to mix up some garlic butter that's gonna go on them. Obviously, I was in a garlic butter mood when I was choosing these recipes. They look so good. So that's what we're getting today. I'm just gonna melt this in the microwave and then we'll mix in some garlic and some seasonings, and this is what we're gonna brush on our dough. So let's get this melted. Mini muffin pan, always put it on a sheet pan as well. Okay, this looks just right. So there's some chunks still left in there. That's what we want. In goes a couple of cloves of minced garlic. Similarly to the other one, we're gonna put in some red pepper flakes. These red pepper flakes that I'm using here are gochujang, which is not as spicy. So not a red pepper flakes like you typically would see, but either one works great. I just like these because they're a little bit milder. I like the way that they look in things a little bit better as well. A bit of this shredded Parmesan. I'm gonna kind of break it up in my hands because it's not like extremely fine. It's a fine shred. I just want it to be kind of broken up a little further. Once we get the pizza dough into the pan here, we'll put the garlic butter on it. Okay, now we're gonna take this garlic butter and we're gonna brush it into our mini muffin tin. Actually, I don't think I'm gonna brush it. I think I'm just gonna spoon it in there. When we go to press the pizza dough into there, it'll push up the sides just fine. So I'm just gonna put about half a teaspoon into each little cavity here. Pillsbury pizza crust. We're gonna roll this out and then we're gonna cut some pieces to go into our little mini muffin pan. My oven is on 425 degrees for these. Now then, we're gonna fill these with Alfredo sauce, chicken, bacon, mozzarella cheese, and more garlic butter. Oh yeah. You wanna have a tiny layer of cheese at the bottom. That way these don't get ultra soggy in the oven. So just a few little shreds of cheese. I'm using mini muffin cups. You can absolutely use big, regular muffin cups for these as well. It's completely up to you. I think minis are just so cute and adorable that why wouldn't I use minis? And then we all get more bites than we would if we were using a big cup. So quickly, some shreds go in. Just a few, it doesn't have to be a whole lot because we're gonna add a bit more cheese on top. This is a great one for more so of a semi-homemade where you can basically buy the ingredients and assemble it. You don't have to do a whole lot of cooking for this one. So cheese is in. Now I'm gonna add in some chopped cooked chicken. There goes this little chickie in each one. You can use any kind of Alfredo sauce that you love. We don't typically eat Alfredo sauce, but this is gonna be delicious in here. I'm gonna take a teaspoon and just put a little dollop onto each one. This will add some good moisture to these, of course. As it kind of gets hot, it will melt down into these a little bit, which will be perfect. So if you don't like Alfredo sauce, you can absolutely go a different direction with these entirely. Use the same premise, make some pizza ones, make some sausage ones, whatever you like, maybe some ham and cheese, or gosh, what else? I'm sure you all can think of a million other options than I can. Now we're going in with some bacon onto each one. Oh man, these are gonna be so good, actually. And we'll finish them up with a little bit more cheese on top. Now those are going into the oven for about 15 minutes. We'll see how long they take exactly. After they come out, we're going to spread on. Oh, I didn't put the parsley. I'm gonna add a little bit of chopped parsley to this so that after they come out, we can put on a little bit more of this garlic butter right on top. So, I mean, how could these be bad? No way, no way at all. Quickly, while we wait on the little puffs to finish baking, it's time to add the rest of the frosting to the honey bun cake. And I'm just gonna give it a little quick mix here. I'm gonna avoid the side with the crumbs on it, I guess. If yours has gotten really stiff and cold, you could always pop it into the microwave for just a couple of seconds to get it back nice and liquid again. And now we'll just drizzle the rest of this over top of our honey bun cake. So there's layer number 2 of frosting. we'll set it back here in the back and we'll come back in just a little bit and try this guy out. I just quickly heated up that garlic butter once more. We're gonna brush them with this garlic butter as soon as they come out. So let's get them out. Oh yeah, oh my gosh. These look so good. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to eat these, honestly. I really can't. So I'm gonna go ahead and just brush them with the garlic butter, let them sit in the pan here for about 10 minutes and cool down, and then we'll try to get them all out and put them onto a cooling rack. These are ready. They've cooled a few minutes rather, sitting here on the counter. And now I'm gonna take them out of their little muffin cups and put them on a plate here for serving. They look incredible though, but of course I have to try one first just to make sure that they are safe and good for everybody to eat. So I did let them cool down a while. That way there weren't like lava on the inside, but they're still pretty warm. So let's see how they are. They're so good. This is just the perfect bite size too. These are great. I think the more of that garlic butter that you can get on the top, the better. And they're just smoky and tender, and what could you not like about this? This is so good. My son especially is gonna love these because he is a chicken Alfredo guy for sure. I'm gonna get these on a plate and we are definitely gonna enjoy them a little bit later. Some of them I'm using my kitchen shears to just snip the cheese apart. That way they actually come out really easily and they're separated. So these are, like I said, these are my specific kitchen scissors, and they're perfect for this. Now it's time to plate up our delicious dip. I have this plate that's separated out for all of the things. I'm gonna serve the dip with some veggies tonight, but I also have some tortilla chips on hand because it will be delicious with tortilla chips as well. Of course, gotta have some chips. I just brought out all of these yogurt cups. These are things that I have saved and I reuse many, many times. I just take the label off of them. Some yogurt cups you can take the label off, some you cannot. So if I can take the label off, then I do. And I pre-slice my veggies and I put them in these cups. This makes it so easy, especially if you're party planning, to have things ready in advance. So I'm just gonna put down some cucumbers here, some celery that I cut up. Cucumbers, if you cut it in advance, do not put it in any water or anything, but things like carrots and celery, you will want to put in a little bit of water so that they stay nice and fresh. I also have some snow peas that I washed up. Can we just acknowledge that 1 out of every 10 bags of snow peas from the grocery store is actually good? These ones don't look great, but they're gonna be fine for my family. If I was doing something really impressive, see, look, there's even a bad one, and I already went through these one time. I'm not very happy with these, so I'm not gonna put a ton of those on my veggie plate here because I'm unsure about them. I'll deal with those a little bit later. For the celery, I've cut it up and I put it in here. I'm gonna pour the water off now. Same with the carrots. I cut them up. I'm gonna pour the water off. And go ahead and observe what size pieces I cut these into. I cut these sort of on the bias down the carrot rather than cutting them into sticks. Because here's the thing, we're dipping these veggies and we want like one dip per bite of veggie, right? So in order to achieve that, if I have a big veggie stick, a carrot stick or a celery stick, I need another dip after my first bite. But if you cut it down into one bite size, you're gonna be a lot happier with that. One dip, pop it in your mouth, it's done, right? We have to think about these things for our party people. Last thing is some cherry tomatoes. I'm gonna spritz them with some water and just rinse them off. I actually think these cherry tomatoes are gonna be excellent with that jalapeno dip. Oh my gosh, that dip, you guys. If you have never tried it, listen, it's a little bit spicy, but it's not blow your head off spicy. It's like vinegary and pickly and jalapeno-y and all the good things. You can put it in your blender or you can put it in your food processor like I just did mine. Now we've got our veggies looking beautiful. Try to spread the color around. And last, we're gonna pile the dip up inside the little thing here. Try to be nice and neat with it, of course. We don't want to make a mess, but if you do, you can always go back and wipe it down with a clean paper towel or a clean rag. Pile it up. One more. This is all that I need for a party right here. This pile of vegetables, that pile of dip, and I will be happy. I don't need your sweets or your hot dishes or anything. I want your dips, you know? Okay, let's try the jalapeno dip. I'm going in with a nice cooling cucumber. It is so good. Don't be scared because it's jalapenos. It's not hot, hot, hot at all. Not at all. You're gonna love it though. The best part about this dish is that it has a cover, so I'm gonna throw the cover on it and it can go straight in the fridge until I'm ready to pull it out and serve it again. Honey bun cake is back and it's time to cut into her and see how it is. This is a viral recipe. I have a sneaking suspicion that it is a viral recipe for a reason. So I'm gonna cut it into some small-ish pieces here. The wonderful thing about this pan, even though I don't love the way it looks so much, I love that it has a lid that goes on it. So if you're taking this to friends or something like that, it's very easy to serve from this type of dish. So we're just gonna cut this into some smaller pieces since we're not just serving for my family, and we're taking sort of a more shareable approach. I don't think my people will mind if I sneak one tiny piece of honey bun cake just to make sure it is suitable for everyone. Oh my gosh, look at that. You can definitely see the line of that delicious filling in there. So let's give it a go. It's nicely cooked. It's not overdone. The filling is everything. It's something that would be good on the second day. As the moisture in the cake kind of comes out, it probably would bring it together even further. Delicious. I ended up baking mine for only 25 minutes rather than 30 minutes. I covered it, remember, with foil at 20 minutes. That way the top wouldn't get too done. But I think that 25 minutes maximum for this in a 9x13 pan. You probably could even go a couple minutes less. And that would make it a little bit more of a brownie-like consistency rather than a cakey consistency. So try it out. See what you guys think. This is a winner though, for sure. I'm gonna eat the rest of this as well. All right, everything's done and we are gonna be eating good tonight for our feast. I hope that you like some of these recipes. I hope you'll give them a try. Definitely don't be scared of the jalapeno dip. Great flavor, not spicy over the top, just has a little bit of a pleasing heat to it. You're gonna love it. I know Alan's favorite is gonna be honey bun cake. 100%. 100%. My favorite, cowboy butter chicken tenders. Oh my gosh, those are divine. Absolutely divine. Try them all. Try one, try none, but take a little inspiration from it if nothing else. Hey, thank you so much for being here today. If you like my video, go ahead and give it a like. And if you want to, please subscribe to my channel. And with that being said, I will see you back here again real soon.